So we have a question here, and it is that name each of the following triangles in two different ways. Now you may judge the nature of the angle by observation. What it means, you have six triangles, and you have to categorize these triangles, classify them according to, depending upon their sides, and that would the first classification. The second classification would be according to their angles. Now if you're thinking that how will we do for sides and angles both, then you have to go back to what we had discussed in our previous videos, where we classified triangles as equilateral, isosceles, and scalene. So equilateral, isosceles, and scalene, these three types of triangles were depending upon the upon their sides, how many sides were equal and how many sides were not equal. So that was the classification of triangle depending upon the sides. But there was another classification, and that was depending upon the angles of any triangle. And in that we classified triangles as acute angle triangle, right angle triangle, and obtuse angle triangle. So I hope you have seen those videos and you are aware of them. So let's begin with. So first we will check for sides in this triangle. So if you look at this triangle, you have 8 centimeter as one side is 8 centimeter, next side is 5 centimeter, and the third one is 5 centimeter. Now of course this 5 centimeter, that is these two sides are equal, right? These two sides are equal. Since these two sides are equal, therefore we can say that this is actually an isosceles triangle, because the third side is not equal, therefore it cannot be an equilateral triangle, but its two sides are equal, therefore it is an isosceles triangle. Isosceles triangle. Isosceles. Next, so it was depending upon the sides. Next, look at the angles. Now we can clearly we can judge this triangle as an acute angled triangle, because all these three angles will be acute. Now you would be thinking that, hey, it's not given that these three angles are acute, then how can we say that all these three angles are acute? How can you say that? So the answer is that we have done a detailed discussion on this topic, and you have to go to the playlist and you have to check that how will you judge whether any angle is an acute or right angle or obtuse without using any protractor or any other ways to measure any angle. So by simply looking this triangle, therefore on the basis of that discussion that we did in past, we can say that it's an acute angled triangle. Acute angled triangle. So it's an isosceles and acute angled triangle. For this one, B1. Now if you see first for the sides of this triangle, so this side is 17, this side is 15, this is 8. None of the sides of this triangle are equal, therefore it's an scalene triangle. Scalene triangle. So it is this classification of this triangle is on the basis of their sides. The next one is on the basis of angle. So if you look at this triangle, then this symbol shows that it's a right angled triangle. Therefore this will be a scalene as well as a right angled triangle. For this diagram, first on the basis of what? On the basis of sides. Now if you look at this diagram, you would be looking that, hey, here this side is missing. No issues. You have to simply you have to judge on the basis of what things have been given to you. So if you look at these two sides, of course these two sides are equal. Therefore we can say that since these two sides are equal, therefore it is an isosceles triangle. It's an isosceles triangle. Now next will be depending upon the angle. If you look at this triangle, then you can judge that this angle is actually an obtuse angle. Again, how? You have to go back to our previous discussions. So it is an isosceles and an obtuse angled triangle. Next, for this triangle D, again the third side, the length of this third side has not been given to you. No worries, we have been given these two sides, 10 centimeter and 10 centimeter. Of course, on the basis of sides, we can say that, hey, it is an isosceles triangle. It is an isosceles triangle. And then, of course, this is a right angle because it's making a perfect L. We can clearly judge that this is a right angled. So this will be a right angled and an isosceles triangle. For this one, 5.2 centimeter, 5.2 centimeter, 5.2 centimeter, the first thing that will come into your mind on the basis of the length of the sides of this triangle will be that it is an equilateral triangle. It is an equilateral triangle. Okay, now depending upon the angles, we can clearly say that it is all the angles of this triangle is actually an acute angled. So this will be an acute angled triangle on the basis of angles, and on the basis of their sides, the length of their sides, it will be an equilateral triangle. Next one, and the last one, is this 9 centimeter, 10 centimeter, and again 15 centimeter. Now clearly, on the basis of the sides of this triangle, it is an scalene triangle because none of the sides of this triangle are equal, scalene. And then if you look at the angles of this triangle, then you can say it is an obtuse angle. Therefore it is an obtuse angled triangle. So it's an scalene and an obtuse angled triangle.